Are you ready to get into some upset picks here, Jason? I'm going to give you my favorite upset pick. You're gonna relay your favorite upset pick here, and then we are gonna grab one from our models over at BetIQ. Um, and those are gonna be the three that we are rolling with. So I'm gonna give you mine first. And I have been betting against a certain team, and I am going to keep that trend this week, although I have a little bit of a not great feeling because the last time I took an opponent that was catching 3.5
Three and all.
points against the Philadelphia Eagles, it was the Rams, and we all know what happened in that game to screw up that cover. But I am taking the Denver Broncos on the road, catching 3.5 points at Philly. I'm just not sold on Philly. I fully acknowledge that they could turn things on any given week, but I'm just not seeing it so far. They rank 30th in yards per play, 29th in yards per rushing attempt. That is, I cannot fathom that. You have Jalen Hurts, you have Saquon Barkley, you have a good offensive line that was dominant last year, and 4 games into the season, you're 29th in yards per carry. Like that, I can't. I don't know how this team is 4-0. Like, they're getting some turnover luck. They're getting all the right bounces. I don't think that's a sustainable way to win. Like I said, granted, they could turn it on, but I think the Broncos are a formidable opponent here. Quality defense. Bo Nix has a little bit of confidence after that Monday night performance. Maybe that's all he needs to step in back into his rookie form of last year where he was really good. I like Denver plus 3.5, and I like a little sprinkle on the money line here.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before we came on. The Eagles seem to have stolen the Chiefs like close game mojo at the end of games. But one thing about those Chiefs is they weren't covering anything over a field goal, and they would win games by a field goal. And so you are getting a key number there. And then the upset potential is, they haven't. Now, the tush-push play is not going to generate a high yards per carry, but they've been doing that for the last several years, and their numbers haven't been where they are. So it's the rest of the offense that has gone down in the explosive play outside of, relying on the tush-push for the short yardage conversions. And so, they are making fewer plays. They are pushing the ball down the field. Their margin of error is smaller. This Denver team, if Nix can be on, has explosive potential. Obviously, that's been a big if. We saw him again through a red zone interception. They dominated that game against the Bengals even more than the score. I mean, it was just not close. Could easily be 4-0. Could easily be 4-0, kind of like the Eagles are if things had gone differently at the end of games. So I like that. My pick, we talked about it earlier. I'm going to go with the New York Jets against the Dallas Cowboys. They are a small favorite or small dog at this point. So you're basically, I think the better play is actually to play the money line, right? Get plus money rather than getting a push at 1 or something. If you get it at 1.5, is to find your best money line on this game, play it as an outright upset. It's not a big upset. That said, I like just my overview of Dallas this year is they're going to be a great team to play against when they are laying points or the favorite. And they are a decent underdog because of their passing game and their ability to put up points. But their ability to not keep people from putting up points is a detriment when you have a favorite role. And you leave everybody in the game, including a team that isn't the best passing team, but can hit big plays in the Jets. And so I think that what we're going to see is the Jets are able to hit some big plays in this game, running and passing against this defense, which makes them a very live dog. You get a desperate team, I think, going against a team that is coming off, quite frankly, maybe not as good as their record at this point, which is 1-2-1, right? And so, because they were not competitive in that Chicago game. They probably shouldn't have won the Giants game. And then I don't know what happened at the end of the first half against the Packers. Like, they only had 2 points, and the only 2 points were off a defensive 2-point return. And then things went crazy in that game. They scored 2 touchdowns at the end of the half, scored a bunch in the second half, and it tied in overtime. So I like catching the Cowboys when they're laying points, and that's going to be my default position this year. Is this is not a team that is equipped to be a good favorite in the favorites role. So
not only that, and they're laying points on the road here, traveling across the country. So that is certainly one I am looking at as well. And for our model pick, what is our model pick here on the upset, Jason?
Yeah, looking at our current BetIQ top model pick, it's going to make you vomit in your mouth. They often do. The Tennessee Titans, the team that is 3-18 against the spread with the current coach, has only won 3 games outright with the current coach in the last year plus, in the last 21 games. But you have an Arizona team that has managed to bring bad teams back into games late multiple times this year. We know from Survivor how much of a sweat they throw into you. This team is now only down James Conner, but I just saw that they put Trey Benson on IR. Yep. So now they're running out something called, what is it? Mercado. And who's the other one they have? Is they have Gainwell? Is he the other one? No, Gainwell's a quick perk. I forget all the backups that have cycled through, but the Cardinals are basically like, you say what you want about the value of running backs. I think being down 2, including a veteran like Connor, who was useful in the passing game, that had a big impact, I think, early in that last game. This Arizona team just isn't like consistently, like, they can lay eggs on offense. Kyler can be off in hitting his receivers. His receivers can be off. There are pathways to this being an ugly victory for the Titans. So our model likes the Titans as a long shot. Now, granted, when you play the money line, you're playing, the relative value. And it looks like right now you can get Tennessee at plus 327 or so, depending on the book, which basically means you got to think they have a better than 25% chance to be profitable. And that's probably the case in this one. The other one that our models like, by the way, Cleveland across the pond in Minnesota, the first start for.
I did have that game. I was considering that game for upset picks, but there's just so much variance with that.
There's so much going on in that game. Yeah.
I fully acknowledge the Vikings' offensive line concerns, all those injuries up front, and then you have Carson Wentz at quarterback, and Van Ginkel out, I believe, on defense, or at least highly questionable to play. But I can't get on board with Cleveland, Dylan Gabriel going overseas in his first start against Brian Flores' coach defense. I think like that is such a tall task for a rookie that I'm probably just going to sit back and watch this one and not have a wager, even though I am tempted by the underdog.
Over under for this game. How many think pieces are we going to get about Shadur Sanders not starting instead of Gabriel?
Well, did you see his quote unquote interview? You didn't see this?
No, I did not.
Oh my gosh.
I've been deep into the Survivor weeds.
Yeah. So. How do I even describe this to you? He was pretending to talk. It was like he was on mute because he said he had things to say about him being demoted to or staying at the third quarterback on the depth chart and Dylan Gabriel getting promoted. And then the interviewer said, okay, what are you going to say? And he goes, yeah. And that was the whole clip.
That he's like a wide receiver. That's like the wide receiver meet.
Well, I mean, he's Prime's kid. Like,
yeah. So, here's what I'll say. I watched preseason. I don't know how Dylan Gabriel will work out. Dylan Gabriel is the more polished and actually the better quarterback in the preseason games than Sanders. Sanders has some pocket awareness issues that I think would creep up. I would be more likely to like the Vikings if they were to start Sanders because I think the Vikings would get pressure on him. Whereas I think Gabriel may be able to handle it, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think Brian Flores would eat up Sanders with his. He had high sack rates in college. He holds the ball. He doesn't, I think, climb the pocket as well as he should yet. Hopefully he can address that. I think Gabriel's a little more equipped, but still a first-time starter going against Brian Flores, which is risky.